Okay,
I would like to introduce our next speaker, known to many in Gisborne, but not to all. This is Jeremy Muir, a Muir of the long family of Muirs, looking after the Gisborne Herald. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Jeremy for quite some time, actually, so it's been really great. And he's here to share some ideas about the World Press Trends. So I guess old media meets new media, and how old media are going to react to that. So topical from everything we've had today.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Russell. So when Russell first approached me about speaking here, probably 5 or 6 months ago, I thought, oh, perfect. We'll be well on the way towards having a paid model on our website by then, so I'd be able to talk about where we're at with that. Because we're at that stage where we're implementing new software in our throughout our Herald processes. That's sub-editing and the reporting feeding into it, but also on the advertising side and circulation numbers, so everything talks to each other across the business. But the most exciting part of that is the editorial side. But we've discovered that that the structure that creates the possibilities out the other side on the online, mobile and tablet side of what we can produce off there means we have to do it's really structured how our naming criteria and everything for our stories, and it's in a business in Iowa as well, so we have difficulty communicating with them. They're much more in the northern hemisphere than in the southern hemisphere, and we've had a lot of I think it's like with all technology projects, we've had a lot of hiccups along the way, and we're really only now starting to get to the stage of building a new website off it, and we're still having headaches in the newsroom on the sub-editing side, but we're getting there. And so my talk really is based on research on what else is happening in the world rather than what's happening here in Gisborne yet. But it's been really useful to be doing that research because it's really fast moving what's happening. So I haven't been to a big newspaper conference for 18 months or so, and reading up on the literature just recently just to find out how much things have changed. It's pretty impressive just what's going on. And this week we've got Jeff Bezos buying the Washington Post, the Amazon founder, and that's really exciting what he might do with that. And I think it's about the distribution network that he sees and the possibilities, but you never know what he sees. He's one of a kind. So I'll start with some confessions. So I thought this was going to be my first ever PowerPoint presentation. I've just discovered it's PDFs rather than a PowerPoint. This is my phone. So there's a fair way to go for me yet. But what I think the best thing to do is to give you a bit of a rundown on what's happening and to the newspaper industry around the world. So I've plagiarised from a few of the different things I've been reading through, and I'll just talk to it a bit as we go through. So this was my father was actually at this conference a couple of months ago in Thailand. So circulation figures are holding reasonably well in world newspapers. Yep, there's paid and free newspapers, 500 million. Readership's actually about 2.5 billion, so about 5 people reading each paper. But as you can see, Asia there is the vast chunk of newspaper consumption in the world. That's advertising revenue. At the bottom there, North America just chipping away over those past 4 years. It's basically halved their advertising revenue from 49 billion down to half of that. But there's a bit of a case study on that. So at the top there is Asia. It should be orange, but and then you see Europe and America dropping away as consumers move to digital. This is a great quote, this one here. It's part of the potential of what can be done in digital. I mean, we're not engaging well with readers online. Discovering that tablets, people do engage well with news that's delivered well on tablets, but they don't on mobiles and online. But it's a real opportunity to be engaging and bringing younger people into the conversations of society that are important. So there's so this is the amount of time spent. It's not news consumption or anything. It's the time spent in these different media. So while internet, there's a huge amount of extra time. Only I think it's less than 1% of the slide on next is actually news consumption on the internet. There's all the other things going on there, and radio being the one that's dropping away most significantly. So that's internationally, and this is the big problem for the newspaper industry, to see those. We had a business model that was really stable, based on advertisers paying for the product. In general, advertising pays for about 75% of papers, and only 25% is the circulation price. So the advertisers are subsidising all the production costs that go into putting out a newspaper. So it's actually a wide variety. That's probably, the Gisborne Herald was about that. But we're really moving to a stage where the cover price has to cover a bit more of that. But most importantly of all, we need to be finding new business models in the digital world. So that's North America, that big slump in advertising, while and Europe coming down as well, the green one, while Asia comes up, and Latin America down the bottom there, the red one. Yeah, I'd say it would. Yeah, it will be, and just people rising into the middle class and being able to afford to buy newspapers, and also free papers have been. There's been a real trend towards free papers, particularly around public transport, dropping free papers in, and this is just a little bit of a snapshot of what's happening in America. So the best places to learn the lessons from was Scandinavia. And they're still right out at the forefront of digital publishing. They really got it after the Boxing Day tsunami. They found themselves breaking the news of what was happening over in Thailand and elsewhere through because they had a pretty good mobile connections with their readers, and a whole lot of them were on those beaches and had video photos and news that they were immediately sending back to them over on the other side of the world. And so they were publishing first on that. I think it's partly also that for half the year it's dark the whole time, so they have plenty of time for media consumption as well. But so America's shifting to see their newspaper revenue from 49% to 46% in just in 1 year, and that digital's publishing's gone up from 10 to 11%. But looking at all the other things, the circulation price has gone up a little bit, despite the fact that their circulation numbers are dropping away. So in the States now, close to half have paid models. Yeah, they've really gone for it in a big way over the past couple of years. There's heaps of different models, and it is working for lots of them. But for it to work, it's got to be a really good experience. It's not about putting everything up, which was what I thought it might be about before I sort of got into studying this just recently. And so I thought it was about you put everything up, but also you're breaking news the whole time, and so you end up with quite an exciting newsroom where it's happening all the time rather than just for that 1 day deadline. But it's not about the quantity, it's the quality of experience that you provide for people. A lot of it's, yeah, that's cool. It's photo and video is a big part of it. Having the right thing for the right devices. Tablet is particularly good at and horizontal storytelling, moving across rather than that vertical and on desktops. Yeah, having that variety of experience that you can, a much deeper experience that you can provide online. That you can provide. It's important to provide links to other stories so you can, while you've got the breaking news story, there's also for the reader that wants to go deeper, you have links, and they can create their own experience, answering the questions that they might have as they look through other links. So this is American again, and this is that the Americans have been hit so hard with their advertising revenue plumbing away. So it's almost been desperation in America, their leap into paywalls. It's sort of we're sort of entering the great paywall era, and America's sort of been really at the forefront of it. They had too many papers. The quality was fairly low, a lot of them as well. Yeah.
What I consume on my phone and online, but I notice, if I go to say the MIT, New York Times,
Yeah.
the articles deeper, richer, there seem to me aimed at a slightly more educated audience, literate audience.
Yeah. Well, it's the New York Times, though, too, isn't it? It's a great publication. So that was everyone was watching when the New York Times went to a paywall in 2010. I mean, others had already gone, like Wall Street Journal and things, but those ones were with hard paywalls, premium content all behind it. And those sort of publishers are doing really well with that premium content behind a hard wall, that there's nothing else on the other side, but their content has an audience, that people are prepared to pay for it. So what the New York Times has is a metered model with a variety of digital subscriptions, and that's what we'll be looking to do in the Gisborne Herald as well. So you have something like 8 or 10 free stories that can be viewed in a month. So you're going to get traffic going through, because that's your biggest concern, is that you're going to lose all that commentary that can go on through having a digital presence. And another concern is obviously once you put a paywall on, that you're opening yourself up to someone else coming in and doing it free. The fact that it's a big moat for a publisher, a great big printing press. It protects the business because it's such a big investment. You don't have that now, but when there's digital opportunities. But it's still expensive producing good journalism, and another thing, like Rupert Murdoch with the Daily, setting that up. He set it up 2010, he invested $80 million into it, got some of the best journalists in the world, a whole lot of really good designers, but he folded it at the end of 2012 because it didn't get the audience that he needed to pay for it. And one of the big things probably was that you can create a good news avenue, but you don't have that brand awareness that has people going to it or demands people go to it. That they know the product and want to be there. Also, people said it was a bit boring as well. And this is mobile is the huge shift into mobile is what's is sort of for the newspaper industry. A lot of people see it as the sort of the saviour, because people are prepared to pay for applications and things on mobile where they might not have been prepared to on computers, and also the massive growth in mobile tablets last year. The sales increased so much that they became the fastest selling device, fastest increasing device ever, and that's going to keep going. Well, I've got a slide on it coming up, I think. So those numbers are. So the Guardian, which is is a paper that's staying free because it sees itself as having potential, much more potential to with advertising revenues than closing itself off with a paywall. So it's just going for that customer growth, and it's got, at the start of last year, 25% of it was being consumed on mobile devices, and now it's 45%.
Across all of our customers, we're seeing informational websites with over 25% of mobile usage. So we did Squashman Museum's website, so that's an informational website, Currency New Zealand website, and both of those are generating over 25% of tablets and smartphones. So
Yeah.
the way people are consuming those websites have changed quite considerably over the last 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also moved. I mean, I've got some slides coming from a guy who is a big proponent of the iPad, but it was delivered in September last year, and since then there's been such growth in tablets and iPad numbers have actually dropped away. They were pretty disappointing sales last quarter that Apple announced for iPads. So I was talking to Russell about this just before, the delivering across these different devices. It's for a big organisation, it might make sense to be delivering an iPad app and all these others, but like for us, when we go, we'll be doing HTML5 so that it might be a little bit slower, the experience at the other end, but it means that we're not tailoring to different devices. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Mm. Yeah. So this is newspapers aren't very good at selling themselves. They've got to be much better in the digital world at not only providing a great experience for people. It's really relationship driven and building the community online and being really interactive and providing lots of avenues for people to have their own chats and things on your sites, and selling it aggressively to build those numbers. These are just some quotes that I particularly liked in a few places that about the tablets rocketing away. So IDC's incredible prediction is for 2017 is 2.2 billion units of tablets being sold, which seems hard to believe.
Now the gig media are starting to think that their hands reasons are,
Yeah.
which I think is really interesting. They're rapidly heading towards niche.
Yeah. the personalised content thing's going to be where that goes, about how much information people are prepared to give away. At the moment, it's being used by retailers to target and things. But one of the most interesting areas for it is what news media that could be providing on that personalised thing. I mean, they talk next steps and about how disruptive it's already been, but it's going to be, that disruption's going to stay. We're never going to have a stable model, I don't think, in the news business. I mean, probably the next things are going to be wearable computing, and once you get there, it's an augmented reality type world where you could, if people are prepared to have all that information out there about themselves, you'd be, as you see people, you'll be finding out what their social media connections are and what their interests are. For us, would be wanting to provide, when we do stories, we'll be wanting that to be archive that information that's locational for people, so when they're walking past a building they could find out about it, or how many cars have been or muggings there've been or something in the area where you are. Just that sort of any information that you want to know about the area where you are. So it'll be that the archive we already have of all our old stories, but making sure that's being built on. And I mean, it makes for a pretty rich experience too. With the data and data sets have become increasingly important. Because the story's already there, and just as the next lot of data comes in, it's just updated. And similar to the Guardian, the Huffington Post is that wide mass audience. 7th of November 2012 was the US election day. I saw those amazing figures and thought, gee, what was happening on that day? But, and Ariana Huffington's really at the forefront of digital publishing as well. They're a fascinating business. So there's been a few. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that, but no, they pay their journalists as well. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that you can comment on it and have an open forum at the bottom of the article.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you don't get with a newspaper. You don't have that interactive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which stuff it up, because there's a lot of bad comments. Generally devaluing the product of it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a really fine balance between letting
Yeah.
the public comment, but how to do that. So
Yeah.
you've done a good job.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, the quality of comment's really important. Yeah, I moderate what goes up on ours, but when you're a bigger organisation, that's very tough when you've got heaps of comments going on. Yeah. Yeah, what a lot of them do is they have the actual readers pointing at when something's gone up that's offensive or something. They let the organisation know. And so it's moderating by the audience, which makes sense for a big organisation. So Warren Buffett's been buying newspapers over the past couple of years, past year and a half or so. So the greatest investor in the world. He was deriding newspapers for quite a while, and then he owned one. He owned the Omaha paper from a long time ago. But he's a value investor. And so it's a bit contrarian when he started investing, but it's really interesting the sort of papers he's buying. They're small papers that have high readerships in their communities. So it's about that relationship that they have in their community and the role they play there that he's investing in and seeing. I mean, he says that the frequency of publication won't change, but it's quite likely that it will for the actual newspapers. That as you're providing a really good digital product, and that's where people are consuming it mostly. Your print product increasingly becomes more analysis than breaking news, and comment and things like that. And so it doesn't need to come out daily. But the important thing is not to, because I mean, for us at the Gisborne Herald, we could be more profitable by not putting out a paper on Monday and Tuesday, possibly even Saturday as well. But I wouldn't want to do that because you're not providing that news in the world we are now. I think it's really important to be a daily newspaper out there, but in the future it might not be essential because most of our audience is consuming our product digitally. And this is Rupert talking about the daily, his product that he folded. And Financial Times is one of the, it's got a hard paywall because it's premium content, and that financial advice and things, Bloomberg as well, they were the ones that were first with paywalls and have been thriving behind them. These guys are really at the forefront of media newspaper business. They put out a lot of really good information and lead the way at newspaper conferences and things. And that about audiences and communities is the key that newspaper people have to focus on. And I mean, the newspaper industry they've known this is happening for ages, and I mean, I'm guilty of it too. But sort of, you sit here in Gisborne and you think we've got time, we can watch what everyone else is doing, and wait and see. And we'll wait till there's broadband here and things, but then sort of mobiles taking off as well, and everyone does, apart from me, has smartphones and things already. So we're at that stage now. We need to be there as well.
Point on that mobile side, because you think fibre broadband, but then you think mobile.
Yeah.
It's not any of that medium. It's
Yeah.
a whole other medium.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So this is the guy I was talking to you about before, who's been a preacher for iPads for a while. He delivered this in September last year, so things have changed a bit. But he's a guy I've followed from when I first started sub-editing 10 years ago. He's one of the best newspaper designers in the world, a Cuban guy who lives in Florida now, around the world. He's done a lot of the best sort of newspaper makeovers around. I'll go through it quite quickly, but so the media quartet is mobile, tablet, desktop, and newspaper. And this is a key one, and it's leaning forward to your mobile and computer, but where that rich engagement's happening is in the newspaper and in tablets. And he sort of preaches about there being one look across those the media quartet, and he's talking to a newspaper conference, so he puts that in. That's Mario himself. He is a little fellow, and he's just that content flow for tablets. And he just loves that storytelling going across. I saw him speaking in a conference in Sydney a couple of years ago, and he was saying that no one's really doing it very well at that stage. I'm sure he'd be saying now that there are ones that are doing it very well, but he saw this huge potential to be changing how news is told thanks to tablets. That tablet horizontal rather than vertical display. This is one where the figures are quite old already by September. But what's interesting is, so he says only less than 1% are consuming news on iPads, but you look at that when it's being consumed, so in that morning and particularly at night, And what newspaper organisations that are digital are finding is that they're moving their journalism resources to the evenings and the weekends, because that's when where the audience is. So they have to be busier there. I haven't told our editorial team yet. Yeah. This is just what you can do online with updating stories and. Yeah.
Would you drop the paywall immediately when something was of sort of a common interest across the whole area?
There'll be things that are on that are permanently on the free side, anyway. But general news would be you'd have 10 that you can see. But yeah, something like in an emergency like that would keep that news coverage on the free side. But I imagine that we'll be building a lot of promotional things about the district out on the free side as well, so that we're that tool for people to find out more about the region and businesses and things as well. You see that's sort of so you've got just the top news thing at the top there. It was showing nothing on the last slide, and then you click on it and dropping things out, so it's more focused on the imagery and short things. The potential for rich storytelling as well on tablets.
I think the best thing about tablets is the infographics.
Yeah.
Really engaging for audience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially if you click on the infographic and you've got excess statistics coming out of you.
Yeah. The top news organisations are going so much more into data now, and find the Guardian led the way with it. Each time the British government, when its budget comes out, the Guardian's got a famous sort of what they turn around with how they deal with those numbers. Actually becomes really engaging rather than a boring budget story.
Makes it a lot simpler for
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Also, economist-minded people would understand.
Yeah, I actually find that that reporters tend to be not so good with numbers, which and you find that but it's specialist data analysts and things that these media organisations get in. Those again old numbers with tablets, but and you see down the bottom there that about promoting ourselves properly, not expecting people to come to it, to be aggressive in marketing those products. So I just thought I'd finish with a little bit of info from our latest regional report. It's done over 2 years, so that numbers are statistically relevant. So this is over 2011 and 12. It's interesting. We've found that I think the last time we did this, we were 52% female, now 54%. It's not enough sport coverage, obviously. The guide. Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday are our two highest. They're similar. Thursday's just recently sort of replaced it as the most, but it's just within these four walls, Penny. Yeah. So Wednesday's high because of sports draws as well over the winter.
Much exposure like through, I don't know, sorry, but as part of stuff, are you part of that?
No.
Is there any sort of remuneration you part of?
Yeah, APN, the other.
And does that give you additional leadership outside, or?
No, but we're within their firewall. They're our IT support and things. They have a minority interest in the paper. Do you see figures like this, Russell?
I keep up to date as much as I can with published figures,
For
time online and so on.
yeah, you're getting that elsewhere. Is that's about where the numbers are from what you see as well? Cool.
It's a long tail though. It's quite a diverse width, I guess, in the numbers.
Yeah.
So the people that are online for almost all minutes, and,
Yeah.
And often multitasking and multi-devices. So they may be sitting in front of their computer, but actually looking something up on a cell phone. Which is
Yeah.
bizarre.
And that's the same with TV as well as a medium.
So
That's
they're consuming more than one media device.
yeah. So as you'd expect down here, we've got that high use of internet amongst 15 to 24-year-olds. Surprisingly, the 40 to 54 use it more than the 25 to 39, according to that data. And then So for our advertising business, our competitors are radio. So this is the message that we that is the big difference for what we can provide for businesses advertising in the Gisborne Herald compared to radio. And because it's such cool information, that's my last slide, so it'll stay there for any further questions.
In terms of aggregation of news data, so for example, Google News, is there any movement towards a lot of the smaller people getting together to then create maybe a paywall to offer like a bigger offering, more premium content, essentially, rather than you going up by yourself and creating a paywall or where else to generate revenue? I'm just kind of saying because there's so many different places to get data, as you were saying, bringing all that data together. Just wondering if in this movement of paywalls, people are actually considering the aggregation side and joining together.
That probably would with providing windows into national news coverage, world news coverage things. Would that be what you're talking about? So there'd be theirs would be the local focus, but probably a national owner or something like that would be providing content on it as well.
It was more just anything, another model that might not be paywall is sort of what I'm probably getting towards. Is there other models that people are trying?
There's tons of these different. Quite a lot of people are just going. They've got big potential audience, and so they'll remain free, and go for that advertising revenue instead.
And what's like the third most common type? Paywall is that type of
The metered paywall is the most common, and then you've got the free. That's metered paywall. Then there's a freemium model where you've got say 30% free. That is breaking news, short stories, and wire news, but then all your where you've put most of your resource into your journalism that goes behind that, and then there's the ones that are just a hard paywall. They've got premium content that people demand and pay for. Yep.
Have you done any analysis on who's looking online, whether they're people residing in Gisborne or elsewhere?
Yeah.
I had my phone switched off for 9 days, and it has a little feature in the paper, not full pages, during the time I've been away, and I've come back, I turned on my phone last night, and I've got a lovely and on Facebook I've got about 20 notifications, none of them from Gisborne.
Yeah,
All related to that non-court page.
yeah. It's a bit hard to tell because the ISP providers, most of them are out of Auckland. So I was surprised that actually close to 2/3 of our online users are in New Zealand, according to the ISP provider. But we don't know exactly where. Yeah. But there's a lot in Australia, and they spend the most time on the website.
Is it because they're from here and they want to know what's going on?
Yeah. It's our Mozzies over in Australia. They engage. So their average time is close to 5 minutes on the site, whereas across everyone it's 2.5 to 3 minutes. But a big part of that is all the people that are just skipping through for one story, which is probably 40% of the traffic. Yeah. We have another take on that as well, because what we go over a longer period and internally measuring that and have a top 20. It's always interesting to see, and video quite often gets up into those top 20 as well.
I'd like to make a comment about congratulating you on your change of format that you're constantly delivering now on different platforms in different ways. And a lot of the reading that I've done is that one of this whole Web 2 concept, social media 2 concept, whatever, is that you ideally deliver the information that you want to tell people in a format that they want to receive. So some people like Twitter streams, that's what they do, that's their hot button. They're not the people that would go and read a web-based newspaper. Some people want to see it on Facebook because that's what they do, and they don't get outside Facebook. So it doesn't happen on Facebook, they don't see it. And so I see more and more Gisborne Herald stuff being siloed almost or reposted in the different media platforms. And I think that's perhaps a way forward. Do you want to comment on that?
And we need to be doing heaps more in that space, where sometimes it tends to be dumped in that thing because the person doing it is busy and then catches up sending things out. It needs to be a core focus for us. I mean, at the moment we're everything channels through to sub-editors putting the paper together. In the future, the sub-editors might be further away, and it'll be channeling through to our digital news desks, and then the paper comes second to that.
So you may get a piece of information in, and then someone makes the call, this looks like a Facebook only thing, or this looks like something we put on Twitter and then a website, or this looks like obviously a video, so we put that on the website or on our YouTube channel, but then we point Facebook and Twitter and the website.
And the paper to it, yeah.
And then obviously in the paper as well, that's up there, and sometimes.
Yep.
Doesn't get easy, does it?
No. That's what you need, people dedicated to doing it. It's a pretty complicated business as it is, getting a newspaper out.
Then you bring all the interactive medias into that.
Yep.
Any other comments, questions? Benjamin, you could stick around for a little bit, or you need to wander off?
I need to wander off, yeah. Cool.
Are you coming along tonight?
Yes, yep.
Great.
Yep.
So store up any questions you've got if you're coming along to the meet and greet tonight. So that's from 6:15, 6:30 or so at the Policy Hotel in Melbourne, the Pink House. So it'd be great to see anyone along there to continue the discussion.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Good, thank you.
Yes, pleasure.